The massive alien ships appeared without warning. One moment, the space around Jupiter was empty, and the next, over 300 vessels materialized in perfect formation. Each ship was larger than anything humans had ever built, with the flagship alone dwarfing Earth's moon. Earth's astronomers noticed them first. Within hours, every telescope on and off the planet was pointed at the fleet. The military satellites automatically adjusted their positions, and deep space monitoring stations went into high alert. Inside the United Nations Emergency Chamber in New York, world leaders gathered both in person and through secure video feeds. The room buzzed with nervous energy, but there was something else too, a strange calmness that came from years of preparing for this very moment. "They call themselves the Dominion," announced General Thompson, standing before the assembly. His weathered face showed no fear as he presented the initial findings. "Our deep space arrays picked up their communications as soon as they arrived. They're not even trying to hide their signals." The room's main screen displayed translations of the alien transmissions. The Dominion's messages were being broadcast on all frequencies, making no attempt at secrecy. They spoke of their undefeated conquest of 1,000 civilizations, of their unstoppable technological superiority, and of the futility of resistance. Admiral Jones, commanding the Combined Space Force, stepped forward. "They expect us to be terrified," she said, a slight smile playing on her lips. "They're following their standard protocol, the same one they've used to conquer every other world they've encountered." The alien message continued playing. "Your civilization has 24 Earth hours to surrender. Resistance is not advised. We have never been defeated. We have never shown mercy to those who resist. Choose wisely." President Martinez of the Global Defense Council stood up. "And how many of their messages have we intercepted so far?" "All of them," replied the head of intelligence, Dr. Roberts. "They're using what they believe to be an unbreakable encryption. Our quantum systems cracked it in the first 15 minutes. We know their fleet positions, their basic protocols, and most importantly, their assumptions about us." In space, the Dominion fleet maintained their perfect formation. Inside their command ship, the alien leaders were growing confused. According to their data, Earth should have already started panicking. There should have been mass hysteria, breakdown of social order, and desperate pleas for mercy. Instead, their sensors showed something unprecedented. The humans were calm. Too calm. "Supreme Commander," one of the alien officers reported, "we're detecting no disruption to their power grids, no mass population movements, no military units breaking ranks. They appear to be waiting." The Supreme Commander of the Dominion fleet shifted uncomfortably in his command chair. In 1,000 conquests, he had never seen this reaction. Every civilization they had encountered had either surrendered immediately or descended into chaos. Back on Earth, the military commanders were already implementing long-prepared protocols. Underground bases activated, orbital defense platforms subtly adjusted their positions while maintaining civilian satellite cover, and quantum computers continued monitoring every signal from the alien fleet. "They expect us to be primitive," General Thompson told the assembly. "Their scans are looking for specific technology signatures, the same ones they found on every world they've conquered. They're not finding them. Because we developed along a completely different path," Admiral Jones added. "Our technology doesn't match their search parameters because we solve the same problems in different ways." The world leaders looked at each other with grim determination. Humanity had always known this day would come. Every science fiction story, every space movie, every alien invasion novel had prepared them culturally. Every war, every crisis, every global challenge had prepared them practically. The president of the Global Defense Council stood once more. "Send them our response." A simple message was transmitted to the Dominion fleet. Message received. Diplomatic delegation accepted. Coordinates for meeting to follow. In their command ship, the Supreme Commander read the human response with growing unease. Something was wrong. They were too organized, too calm, too ready. For the first time in his long career of conquest, The Supreme Commander felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. The invasion of Earth would not go as planned. The Dominion's diplomatic shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere exactly where directed, over the vast plains of Central Australia. The location had been chosen carefully by Earth's Defense Council, far from major population centers, but still impressive enough to serve its purpose. The landing zone was simple: a large concrete pad surrounded by empty desert. No honor guards, no military parades, no crowds of onlookers. Just 3 human representatives standing calmly beside a small building. The aliens had expected masses of frightened humans gathering to witness their arrival. The emptiness unsettled them. Ambassador High Lord Rex of the Dominion stepped out of his shuttle, his ceremonial armor gleaming under Earth's sun. He stood nearly 8 feet tall, his scaled skin reflecting light and patterns designed to show his superior rank. Behind him, 4 guards carried what appeared to be advanced weapon systems. "Welcome to Earth," said Director Miller, the lead human representative. She wore a simple black suit and carried no visible weapons. "We've prepared a meeting room with suitable atmospherics for both our species." The alien ambassador followed, his guards scanning everything with their advanced sensors. The meeting room was plain except for a large table and several chairs of different sizes. The only decoration was a single screen on the wall. "Before we discuss terms of surrender," High Lord Rex began, his translation device converting his words to perfect English, "we will demonstrate why resistance is futile." He raised his hand, and one of his guards activated a holographic display showing the Dominion's military might. Director Miller watched politely, then pressed a button on the table. The screen on the wall came to life, showing a perfect replica of the aliens' private command channel communications. "Interesting tech you have there," she said casually. "We've been particularly fascinated by your quantum entanglement communicators, though we noticed some inefficiencies in the design." The ambassador froze. Those communications were supposed to be impossible to intercept, let alone decode. "How did you?" "We also took the liberty of analyzing your shuttle's shield harmonics during landing," added Commander Baker, the second human representative. "Interesting approach to particle deflection, though rather power-hungry compared to our solutions." The alien guards raised their weapons, but their targeting systems suddenly displayed error messages. Their supposedly unhackable computer systems had been locked out. "Don't worry about your weapons," said Dr. Watson, the third human representative. "We're all safe here, though you might want to update your cybersecurity protocols. They're about 300 years behind our current standards." High Lord Rex felt his scales darkening with rage and fear. "Impossible. Your civilization hasn't even achieved routine spaceflight." Director Miller smiled. "You mean we haven't achieved spaceflight using your civilization's technological path? We took a different route. While you focused on brute force shield technology, we developed deflection systems that work with our atmosphere. While you perfected faster-than-light travel, we mastered quantum computing and AI." The screen behind them shifted to show various human technological achievements, ones that had been deliberately kept hidden until now. Satellite networks that could reconfigure themselves instantly, defensive systems integrated into the natural environment, and computing technology that operated on principles the Dominion had never considered. "Your invasion fleet," Commander Baker added casually, "is currently sitting in what we call a quantum observation field. Every ship, every system, every communication is being monitored and analyzed. We've already drafted improvement suggestions for most of your key technologies, if you're interested." The ambassador's translator couldn't quite capture the tremor in his voice as he spoke. You planned for this. Humanity has been preparing for alien contact for centuries," Dr. Watson explained. "Every possible scenario, every potential threat. We've built our entire civilization knowing this day would come." Director Miller stood up. "Now, shall we discuss actual diplomatic relations? As equals, or would your fleet prefer a demonstration of how humanity responds to threats?" For the first time in the history of the Dominion, A diplomatic first contact meeting ended with their ambassador retreating in haste. As his shuttle lifted off, his guards still trying to reactivate their weapons, High Lord Rex realized that the Dominion had made a terrible mistake. They hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had been waiting for them. The Dominion's Supreme Commander slammed his fist onto his command console. The diplomatic failure was unacceptable. Now, before these humans could reveal any more surprises, it was time for the military solution. The solution that had never failed before. Launch the first wave, he ordered. Show them what real power looks like. 500 attack ships broke formation, diving toward Earth's atmosphere. Their sensors showed minimal orbital defenses, just a few primitive satellites and space stations. This would be easy. They were wrong. As the first ships entered the upper atmosphere, Earth's hidden defense grid activated. What the aliens had thought were simple communications satellites suddenly transformed. Solar panels folded into weapon arrays, weather monitoring stations revealed missile launchers, and orbital debris transformed into smart minefields. "Sir," one of the Dominion's officers called out, "we're detecting energy signatures everywhere." The Supreme Commander watched in shock as his first wave of ships encountered something they had never seen before, a planet that fought back as one unified weapon. In the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Thompson watched the alien fleets approach. "Activate the atmosphere defense network," he ordered. Decades ago, humanity had realized something crucial. Any alien invasion would have to deal with Earth's atmosphere. While other civilizations might focus on space battles, humans had turned their entire atmosphere into a weapon. The alien ships suddenly found themselves fighting against the air itself. Controlled storm systems battered their formations. Targeted lightning strikes probed their shields. Atmospheric pressure changes tested their hull integrity. "Impossible," the Supreme Commander shouted as his ship's shields began failing. Their technology is supposed to be primitive. But humanity's greatest advantage wasn't their technology, it was their preparation. Deep under the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Jones gave the order. Launch the hydro response. The aliens had expected resistance from the ground and the air. They hadn't expected the oceans themselves to rise against them. Massive underwater cannons, hidden in the deep sea trenches, fired shots that could pierce straight through their weakened shields. "All ships, push through," the Supreme Commander ordered. "Their defenses can't be everywhere." But they were. Every mountain range concealed anti-spacecraft weapons. Every desert hid energy projection systems. Every forest masked ground-to-space missile silos. Earth itself had been transformed into one massive defense system, built piece by piece over centuries of preparation. In Geneva, at the Global Defense Council, President Martinez watched the battle unfold. "They still don't understand," she said quietly. "No," agreed Dr. Roberts, "they don't. They think these are our best weapons." The Dominion fleet regrouped, preparing for a second attack. Their sensors finally began identifying the human weapon platforms, adapting their shields to the unexpected assault methods. "They're learning," General Thompson reported from his command center. "Should we show them why that won't help?" President Martinez nodded. "Show them our first real surprise." Across Earth, hidden installations activated. Not weapons this time, but something the Dominion had never encountered: planetary-scale shield technology. Not the brute force barriers the aliens used, but something far more subtle and effective. The aliens' second attack wave slammed into an invisible wall of protection that didn't just stop their weapons, it redirected their energy back at them. "What kind of science is this?" the Supreme Commander demanded as his ship's own weapon fire bounced back, destroying 3 cruisers. The answer was simple: human science. Science born from thousands of years of warfare, competition, and innovation. Science that had developed along a completely different path than any other civilization in the galaxy. As the Dominion fleet retreated to a higher orbit to reassess their strategy, they finally began to understand. They had expected to find a primitive civilization with a few advanced weapons. Instead, they had found a species that had turned their entire planet into one integrated defense system. In the command center, General Thompson allowed himself a small smile. Should we show them why we call these our basic defenses? The real battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity was just getting started. The Dominion's Supreme Commander called an emergency meeting with his science division. Their military attack had failed, but they had never lost a war. It was time for their most effective weapon, one that had brought even the strongest civilizations to their knees. "Release the pathogens," he ordered. "All of them." Across the Dominion fleet, special containers opened, releasing clouds of engineered diseases toward Earth. These were their perfect weapons, viruses and bacteria designed to attack any carbon-based life form. No civilization had ever survived this attack. But Earth's defenders had been expecting this. In Atlanta, at the Global Disease Response Center, Dr. Thomas watched the alien pathogens descend through the atmosphere. Hundreds of sensors, built after humanity's experience with past pandemics, instantly began analyzing the new threats. "Just as we predicted," she said, watching the data flow across her screens. "They think we're defenseless against engineered diseases." The aliens' biological weapons entered Earth's atmosphere, but something unexpected happened. Instead of spreading unchecked, they encountered humanity's invisible defense system. Billions of engineered microorganisms that had been released into the air years ago, specifically designed to catch and destroy alien biological threats. In the Dominion command ship, the Supreme Commander received shocking news. "Sir, our pathogens, they're being destroyed." On Earth, Dr. Thomas smiled as she watched the defense system work. Amazing what a few centuries of dealing with our own diseases taught us, isn't it? Humanity had faced plagues, viruses, and bacterial infections throughout its history. Each outbreak had made their medical science stronger. Each pandemic had improved their response systems. When COVID-19 had swept the world centuries ago, it had taught humanity valuable lessons about global disease response. The Dominion launched a second wave of pathogens, this time targeting Earth's food supply. But they didn't understand what they were dealing with. Human scientists had spent centuries developing resistant crops, building backup seed vaults, and creating artificial food production systems. "They still don't get it," Dr. Thomas said to her team. "Every threat they're using, we've already faced something similar. We've been preparing for this since before we knew aliens existed." In the command ship, the Supreme Commander received more disturbing news. Not only were their biological weapons failing, but Earth's defensive organisms were evolving, becoming more efficient at destroying the alien pathogens. "Impossible," he shouted. "Their medical science should be primitive." How are they doing this? The answer appeared on his screens. Earth's medical AI systems, developed through centuries of fighting diseases, were analyzing and countering each new pathogen faster than the Dominion could release them. But humanity wasn't just defending. In laboratories across the planet, scientists were studying the alien biological weapons, learning from them, and developing countermeasures that could be used if needed. "Should we show them what we've learned?" asked Dr. Thomas, looking at the samples her team had collected. In orbit, the Dominion ships suddenly detected something new. Their own biological sensors were registering threats. Earth was releasing modified versions of their own pathogens back at them, improved and strengthened by human medical science. "This is impossible," the Supreme Commander whispered. "They've taken our weapons and improved them in ours." Dr. Thomas watched as the alien fleet scrambled to activate their own biological defenses. "They thought diseases were weapons," she said to her team. "We learned long ago that they're teachers. Every disease we faced made us stronger. Every pandemic improved our defenses." The Dominion fleet retreated to a safer distance, their biological warfare systems completely shut down. For the first time, they faced an enemy that didn't just survive their weapons. It learned from them and turned them into something better. In the Global Defense Council, President Martinez received the update. "Another of their weapons neutralized," she noted. I wonder what they'll try next. But everyone knew it didn't matter what the aliens tried. Humanity had spent its entire history preparing for every possible threat, and they were far from showing all their cards. The real question wasn't whether Earth would win. The question was how much more the Dominion would have to lose before they realized it. After failing with both military force and biological weapons, the Dominion turned to their elite cyber warfare division. Their computer experts had never failed to break into any civilization's networks. Their technology is different, the Chief Information Officer told the Supreme Commander, but all systems can be hacked. Begin the network assault. Across the Dominion fleet, thousands of quantum computers launched attacks against Earth's digital infrastructure. They expected to see power grids failing, communications breaking down, and defense systems going offline. Instead, they found themselves in a maze. In the Global Cyber Defense Center in Tokyo, lead engineer Wilson watched the alien attacks bounce harmlessly off Earth's networks. They really don't understand what they're dealing with, do they? Earth's internet had been under constant attack for centuries, not from aliens, but from humans themselves. Hackers, cyber criminals, and digital warriors had forced humanity to build the strongest cyber defenses in the galaxy. They're using standard attack patterns, Wilson noted, watching the alien attempts, just like every other hacker we've ever faced. But the Dominion wasn't giving up. They launched their most sophisticated virus, something that had destroyed the digital defenses of 100 worlds. It was their perfect weapon. The virus hit Earth's networks and found itself facing something unprecedented: artificial intelligence defense systems that had evolved through centuries of cyber warfare. "Look at that," Wilson said to his team, pointing at his screens. "Their virus is actually trying to adapt. Almost cute, isn't it?" The alien cyber warriors watched in horror as their ultimate virus was not only stopped but dissected. Earth's defense AI was taking it apart, learning its secrets, and using that knowledge to strengthen its own defenses. "Sir," one of the Dominion cyber officers reported, "we're detecting something strange. Their networks. They're not like anything we've seen before." They were right. While other civilizations had built their computer systems from the ground up, humanity had created something different. Earth's networks were chaos turned into strength. Millions of different systems working together, constantly changing, always adapting. Wilson smiled as he gave the order. Time to show them how Earth fights back. The Dominion's first warning was when their secondary systems started failing. Earth's counterattack didn't just defend, it invaded. Decades of dealing with human hackers had taught Earth's cyber warriors how to turn defense into offense. "Impossible," the Supreme Commander shouted as reports flooded in. "How are they in our systems already?" The answer was simple. Earth's hackers had been studying the alien systems since they first arrived. While the Dominion prepared their attack, humanity had already mapped their weaknesses. In the Cyber Center, Wilson watched as his team did what they did best: causing chaos in enemy systems. "They thought cyber warfare was about breaking things," he said. "We learned long ago it's about understanding them." The Dominion's fleet suddenly found their weapons systems rebooting, their shields fluctuating, and their communications filling with static. They had expected to fight a primitive digital enemy. Instead, they faced the most advanced cyber warfare system in the galaxy. "Should we show them the real surprise?" Wilson asked his team. Deep in the Dominion's supposedly secure networks, a message appeared. "Your systems are now part of Earth's defense network. Thank you for your contribution." The Supreme Commander stared in disbelief as his own ship's computers began working against him. Humanity hadn't just stopped their cyber attack. They had turned the Dominion's own network into a weapon. "How?" he demanded. "How is this possible?" The answer was Earth's history. Every hacker, every virus, every cyber attack had made their defenses stronger. The chaos of humanity's digital evolution had created something the organized, structured Dominion could never understand. In Tokyo, Wilson sent a final message to the alien fleet. "Next time, ask before you try to hack us. We might have taught you something." The Dominion's Cyber Warfare Division admitted defeat for the first time in their history, but they still didn't understand their true mistake. They had brought digital weapons to a fight against the species that had invented hacking. In the Dominion's command ship, the Supreme Commander called an emergency meeting with all his senior officers. On the main screen, reports showed every failed attempt to conquer Earth. Something about these humans was fundamentally different from any species they had ever encountered. "Show me their history," he ordered. The intelligence officers brought up their research, and for the first time, the Dominion began to understand why they were losing. Unlike every other civilization they had conquered, humans had never united under a single banner. They had spent their entire history competing, fighting, and trying to overcome each other. But instead of destroying themselves, this constant challenge had made them stronger. "Sir," one analyst reported, "their weapons aren't advanced because of superior science. They're advanced because they never stopped preparing for war." The Supreme Commander watched recordings of Earth's history. While other civilizations developed technology for peace and progress, humans developed it for survival and competition. Every invention, every discovery, had been tested in conflict. In the Global Defense Council chamber, President Martinez received a strange message from the alien fleet. The Dominion wanted to understand how humans had become so powerful. "Should we show them?" asked General Thompson. "Show them everything," she replied. "They need to understand what they're really facing." Earth's response came in the form of historical records. They showed the Dominion how humans had split the atom while fighting a world war, how they had reached space because two nations were competing to get there first, how the Internet had been born from military research. In his command ship, the Supreme Commander watched with growing horror. Every advancement they made, he realized, came from their divisions, not their unity. The briefing continued. Earth showed them their space programs, revealing that humans had already established bases on Mars and Europa long before the Dominion arrived. They had kept these bases hidden, preparing backup plans for humanity's survival, even if Earth fell. "Sir," another officer reported, "we're detecting energy signatures from their moon. It's not a natural satellite anymore." The humans had transformed their moon into a massive defense platform, but had kept it dormant until now. They hadn't even used it in their earlier defenses. This was just one of many surprises they had held in reserve. "How much more are they hiding?" The Supreme Commander whispered. The answer came when Earth revealed their deep space monitoring systems. Humanity had known about the Dominion for decades. They had watched them conquer other worlds, studied their tactics, and prepared countermeasures for everything. "They let us come," one officer realized. "They wanted us to attack so they could test their defenses." In the Defense Council, General Thompson watched the aliens' reactions through their now compromised systems. "They finally understand," he said. "Every time they attacked, we only showed them what was necessary to stop them, never everything we could do." The Dominion's leaders faced a terrible realization. They hadn't found a primitive civilization to conquer. They had found a species that had spent its entire existence preparing for this moment. "Sir," a junior officer reported to the Supreme Commander, "we're detecting new energy signatures. The humans, they're powering up weapons we've never seen before." President Martinez stood before the Global Defense Council. "They wanted to know our true power," she said. "Perhaps it's time to show them." Across the solar system, hidden human installations activated. Weapons platforms emerged from asteroids. Defense systems appeared from within gas giant storms. An entire network of human military power, built over centuries, revealed itself. The Supreme Commander watched his sensors light up with thousands of new threats. His supposedly unstoppable fleet was now surrounded by more firepower than they had ever encountered. "Now they see," General Thompson said quietly. "Humanity didn't just prepare for invasion. We prepared to become the strongest force in the galaxy." The Dominion faced a choice: retreat for the first time in their history, or face the full might of a species that had turned warfare into an art form. And humanity was just getting started. The Supreme Commander of the Dominion Fleet faced the hardest decision of his career. Before him, Earth had revealed a weapons network that spanned the entire solar system. Behind him, his fleet, undefeated for 1,000 years, waited for orders. "We are the Dominion," he declared, his pride overwhelming his judgment. "We do not retreat. Launch everything we have." It was the last mistake he would make as Supreme Commander. Earth had been waiting for this moment. As the Dominion fleet began their final attack, President Martinez gave a single command: show them what humanity can really do. Across the solar system, humanity's full military might activated. The moon, transformed over centuries into a giant weapons platform, unleashed energy beams that cut through Dominion ships like paper. Hidden bases on Mars launched swarms of autonomous fighter craft that Earth had been building for decades. "Target their command ship," General Thompson ordered. "Let's end this quickly." The Dominion fleet found themselves caught in a perfect trap. The weapons they faced weren't just powerful. They were designed specifically to counter alien technology. Every shot found its mark. Every strategy they tried was predicted and countered. "How?" the Supreme Commander shouted as his ship's shields failed. "How can they be this prepared?" The answer came from his own tactical officer. "Sir, I understand now. Their entire civilization is built on preparing for the worst. They never stopped getting ready for this day." Jupiter's atmosphere, where humans had hidden their largest weapons, suddenly lit up with energy discharges. The gas giant itself seemed to attack the alien fleet, its storms weaponized by human technology. In the Defense Council chamber, Admiral Jones watched the battle unfold. "They still don't realize this isn't even our strongest defense," she said quietly. She was right. Humanity had kept their most powerful weapons hidden, even now. The weapons they were using were just enough to win. No need to show everything they had developed. The Supreme Commander watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart by Earth's defenses. Ships that had conquered 1,000 worlds were being destroyed by weapons they had never imagined possible. We surrender," he finally transmitted. The attack stopped instantly. Earth's weapons fell silent, showing a control that impressed even the Dominion. They had expected humans to be savage warriors, but instead found them to be precise and disciplined. President Martinez's response was calm and measured. "Your surrender is accepted. You will withdraw your remaining ships to the edge of our solar system and await diplomatic contact." As the defeated Dominion fleet retreated, something unprecedented happened. The communication channels suddenly filled with messages from other alien civilizations, ones that had been conquered by the Dominion, ones that had watched this battle in secret. "We request Earth's protection," they began asking, one after another. "We seek alliance with humanity." In the Defense Council chamber, world leaders listened to these requests with careful attention. Humanity had not just defeated an invasion. They had changed the galaxy's balance of power. "What should we tell them?" General Thompson asked. President Martinez stood, looking at the holographic display showing hundreds of alien civilizations reaching out to Earth. "Tell them humanity accepts the responsibility. We will help them rebuild, and we will protect them. But not just from the Dominion, from any threat that comes from the stars." The news spread across the galaxy. The undefeated Dominion had finally met their match. But more importantly, the galaxy had found something new. A civilization that had turned its greatest weaknesses, its divisions, its conflicts, its constant preparation for war, into strength. In the years that followed, Earth became known not just for its military power, but for its willingness to help others. The same determination that had created their defenses now went into rebuilding freed worlds and advancing galactic civilization. The Dominion's defeat marked the beginning of a new era. Humanity had proven itself not just as warriors, but as protectors. Not just as survivors, but as leaders. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, any other hostile forces that might have considered attacking Earth received a clear message. Humanity was ready. Humanity was waiting. and humanity was unstoppable. The end.